Hey Soup, welcome back. It's Claytano. Thank you guys so much for tuning in as always. And today we're going to be teaching you how to rune Sigmarus, the Water Phoenix. And in this video I go over what they're useful for, what they offer, the pros, the cons, the runes early and late game, substat priorities, team combinations, alternatives, and the overall rating at the very end. So definitely a lot to get into. So to start off, I like to talk about what Sigmarus is mainly useful for. Like, where do you use him in the game or her, whatever it is. I would say DB10, GB10, and maybe arena offense early game if you don't have anything else. Okay, so to kind of explain DB10 and GB10, the reason being is because his leader skill is actually based on only dungeons. It only works in dungeons. I used to use Sigmarus for a leader in Dragon's B10 before I had a Vertihile, and it worked fine with like a Bella, Kona, Vermos, and Megan. So it was like crazy different types of monsters that you probably wouldn't really think of. You're like, maybe I just need a Vertihile, but Sigmarus actually works great as a leader in DB10 as well. Is it as fast? No, but if you don't have a Vertihile, use Sigmarus, in my opinion. Also, what does Sigmarus offer? He offers a AoE attack power reduction. So it's breaking the attack power, and he has a stun on his first skill. So here is the AoE attack power reduction and the stun on the first skill. Nothing crazy here. Oh, and it freezes the enemy, of course. So a freeze and a stun, which is nice. You got lots of CC just on the first and the second skill. Now, as far as main pros, the first pro that I would say for Sigmarus is that he actually awakens into crit rate, which makes him extremely easy to rune because of that. Because he's a nuke monster, you want to have a lot of crit rate and crit damage, so you can actually sub out a lot of crit rate substats for crit damage and build more speed, crit damage, and attack power than you would normally need to. Also, his damage is increased on the enemy's max HP, which makes him great for dungeons as well. So against the dragon, he's going to be doing a lot more damage against the final boss, and you're going to be killing it a lot quicker. Same thing with Giants B10. The boss, you're going to be killing the boss a lot quicker based on this third skill. He also has high base attack. Look, 988. It's crazy. It's one of the highest ones in the game, with the exception of Teshar, I believe, and maybe a few others. I'm not sure, but you guys can comment that in the comment section below, because I already know that you're gonna correct me on other monsters that have higher base attack. So thank you for that. Also, he's fusible, which is great. Has low rune requirements. We already went over that. And what makes Sigmarus a little bit tougher, or the cons for Sigmarus, is that he has low base scaling damage on his third skill. So if they don't have a lot of HP, you're not going to be doing as much damage as some of the other AoE nukers in the game would be doing, because it's not meant for that. It's meant to be doing damage for higher HP monsters like bosses. He also has very low base HP at 8,730. That's horrible. And low base speed at 94. That's like, it's really, really, really low. Okay, really low. I recommend, if you don't have, since you don't have to worry about crit rate on your subsets as much, focus on speed and HP so that way it doesn't die just like that, okay? So kind of to segue into runes from that, let's talk about early game. Early game, you're not going to have much access to like violent, rage, stuff like that. So I would go fatal on him and build him as a nuker. So offset would be blade, and then attack percent slot 2, crit damage slot 4, attack percent slot 6. Easy, like easy. Okay, done. Late game, you want to move it into violent or rage, and then also have the offset be blade. You're not going to really need will. You're not going to need like all these different things, because you're not going to use a Sig for like arena PvP, you're gonna mainly use him for your dungeons teams. And the fact of the matter is that Sigmarus is gonna fall off near late game because you're not gonna need him as much because he's gonna get replaced by other monsters. Unfortunately, that's just what happens. So it's a great fusible monster early game. I recommend getting one as soon as possible if you don't have one though. So for late game, Violent Rage, main set, Blade offset, and then attack percent slot 2, crit damage slot 4, attack percent slot 6. Same exact thing the whole way through. Subset priorities, focus on your crit rate, making sure that that's still high, even though it has, you know, it awakens into crit. Still make sure you get it at 85% at least. Then go on speed, attack percent, then crit damage in that order for your subset priorities. And then your team combinations, if you're using it on AO and you don't have another option, then make sure you're building it with a buff stripper. And then you can also put Galleon with it as well. If you don't have Galleon, you could do Lure, you could do you know, all of the different AoE defense break monsters in Galleon's place. Aside from that, there's really not much else as far as like your team combinations and dragons. I kind of went over that already. You can use it with a Galleon, Spectra, Vertihile, Galleon, Spectra, Sigmarus, and Tark. That would be a great option for you as well for that. Alternatives, I would say Water Homunculus or Teor. They're going to be doing pretty much the same thing. You can also sub out in dungeons for like a Stella, or like that's the Water Assassin. You could also sub it out for Theomars. All of those monsters are going to kind of interchange. Maybe even the Water Barbaric King would do the same basic idea. Okay, but the overall rating, I would give Sigmarus a 3.5 out of 5 just because it does fall off a little bit later game, but it's still a very, very useful monster to have early game, and I recommend fusing one as soon as possible. And just to kind of give you guys an idea of what you'd be looking at for a good Sigmarus is this, okay? I have a lot of attack power. I have a little bit of extra HP, just enough to make sure it doesn't get one shot for the most part. And then speed is at 77, crit rate 85, like I said, 191 crit damage, and that's about it. Rage Blade, right? So just to kind of go around the room. Right? So those are, of course, extremely good runes that are put on Sigmarus. He doesn't really need that much, though. Okay? He doesn't really need that much. But just to kind of give you guys a damage perspective, let's just go into Phaimon Hell real quick. We'll put Zeros Leader so that way it increases the attack power. We'll give Galleon. We'll also throw in the Sigmarus, and that's it. That's all we need, wherever it's at. I forgot I got him very early. I actually summoned Sigmarus, and I never needed to fuse him. So, kind of made things a little bit easier that way. But a lot of people summon him, unfortunately. He's a common summoned monster. Alright, so we'll go over there. And then we'll do the third skill here. So 31 to 32,000. That's not horrible. And then we'll go and do the second and the first skill, so that way you guys can see that, okay? Alright, so here is the second skill. 59,000. That's like some big damage. It really is some big damage. We'll just go over there. Alright, now we can do it. Hopefully Zeros doesn't violent proc. Alright. First skill, 40,000, 41,000. So really it is a good damage dealer, but as you saw, the third skill isn't really as much as you're really looking at, because like Zeros is built with crit rate slot 4 and can do just as much with the attack boost. You didn't see the attack boost there, but can do just as much because his scaling on his third skill is a lot better than Sigmarus's, with it being based on the max HP. So that's why you could use it as a nuke, but I would recommend using other AoE nukes like Amir instead for arena purposes. But for dungeon purposes, Sigmarus does great because it's based on max HP. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you guys think this video was helpful, definitely hit that up like and leave a comment below. If you want to join the soup, just hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate that. And as always, stay soupy. Don't be potatoes. It's a little messed up potato. But other than that, peace later. Bye-bye. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, because really, why not? I also infest other areas of the internet like Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram, but the best place to ask me a question or just to tell me how much you hate me would be during my live stream every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see you guys there, and as always, stay soupy and don't be potatoes.